Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com. Today we're going to be learning how to play Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. And this arrangement I wrote for somebody that's trying to develop adding a backbeat into their playing. So backbeat just simply means adding a percussive effect like a slap just to keep that rhythm going. So we're going to talk about two approaches for adding a backbeat in this song as we learn the verse in this YouTube lesson. So we're going to learn that complete verse in this lesson. If you guys want to learn the rest of the arrangement, which would include the pre-chorus, the chorus, and that trumpet solo at the end, you can go to rockclass101.com and you will also be able to get the complete tabs for this song, as well as the on-screen tab viewer, which lets you hit play with the YouTube video, slow it down to whatever speed you want, loop bars, or even loop a section of a bar, and just it's a great way to practice and a great asset for learning this song. So all of that is at rockclass101.com. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to talk about is the two approaches for adding backbeat for this song. So the first approach deals with just adding a basic slap when it's a slap by itself. And I'll demonstrate that in a second. And the second approach is adding that backbeat when there's a melody note being played at the same time as that percussive hit. So the first approach is great for the first 8 bars of the verse, and the second approach is great for the last 8 bars of the verse. So let's go ahead and demonstrate approach number 1. So you can hear how when I'm playing just this first bar of the song, that I have a slap that occurs without a melody note, right? And later on, when we get to it in this lesson video, we're going to have where it's a slap plus a melody note together, and we're going to be talking about approach number 2 for that. So let's kick off with learning this. I changed the key up a half step to F. So originally it's an E, and it just works better for the uke in F. So keep that in mind if you're trying to play along with the original recording. You would have to use some kind of program to shift it up by 1. So the first part will begin with a pickup bar. And the pickup bar is just going to be that first fret of string 2. You're going to hit that twice, and then the open 4th string. But it's a quick rhythm. So think of it as ba-ba-ba. Okay, and then we're going into that basic F chord. Right? And this is where our slaps start. And our slaps throughout this song are going to be on beats 2 and 4. Okay? So we're going to have an F chord. We're just going to strum. And we can hit the open 1st string after that. And then we're going to slap on beat 2. So when you have approach number 1, which is a slap without a melody note at the same time, it's a slap by itself, all you're going to do is you're going to hit basically with kind of the palm of your hand, kind of shaped like this. Just keep it in that finger picking shape, and you're just going to hit the body of the uke. Okay? If this is your first time doing adding a backbeat and rhythm slaps, check out this. It was over there. Check out this lesson that I did for the beginner for adding a backbeat. So again, approach 1 is just going to be hitting it. So you guys can just practice hitting the body like that, but don't open your hand up. Don't slap it like that, because if you do that, then it wastes so much time by opening your hand up, and then you have to close it to get to the next picking that you're going to be doing. So try and keep it in the shape of finger style, right? It looks like a claw to me. So again, we have F, followed by the open 1st string slap, and then we're going to pluck strings 1 and string 2. Right, and the whole time I'm keeping that F shape. So now I have, okay, one more time. Okay, then we're going to a C5. So make a basic C chord. And the only difference is your ring finger will go up to string 2. So it's on the 3rd fret of string 2. So we're going to strum 4 to 2. And then follow that by an open 1st string. So we have, okay, followed by another slap, and then we're going to a D minor. All right, so now we have, okay, and D minor is basically the F chord with the third finger added to the third string second fret. Okay, and for this one I'm strumming 4 to 2. So now we have, okay, and when you hit that D minor, you're just going to hold it out before you go into the next couple bars that are going to be played. So again, now guys, we have the pickup measure plus the first bar and the majority of the second bar, because the second bar holds out D minor. So the tail end of the second bar is going to go, it's going to be a hammer on. It's going to go 1 to 3 on string 2. So you're just going to pick string 2, hammer on with your ring finger, and play the open first string after that. And we go into a G minor, right? And our G minor is going to be our second finger on the third string second fret, our ring finger on the second string third fret, and our index on the first fret of the first string. And string 4 will be open. Okay? So again, we have 1 to 3 is a hammer on, open first to G minor. Okay? So tying that from the beginning, we have 2, 3. Okay? So when I hit that D minor, 2, 3, I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, ba-da-da, and then go into the next bar, which would be bar 3 if you're following along with the tablature. So from bar 3, we have G minor, and it's the same kind of thing as we did with the F. You're going to strum and then hit string 1 followed by a slap. Okay, so again, strum 1 and then slap. Okay, after that, you're going to play string 1 open, jump back to that F chord, and then add your ring finger to the third fret of string 2. So here's what that sounds like. Okay, slower. So I have G minor, and then a slap, right? So strum 1 slap, open first to F, and then the third fret of string 2. Okay, after that you have another slap and back to the C5. Okay, and we're going to hold that one out. So slow it down, and that's what we end up with. And again, this C5 is going to hold out. So when you hit that 2, 3, right, you're going to hold that out for basically the end of 4 from where we hit it on, and then the next bar you hold it for a half note. So for beats 1 and 2, and on 3 you're going to count, and then you're going to go to the next little phrase before that next bar starts. And our next phrase will be actually the same as that pickup measure we did in the very beginning of the song. So let's recap now. We've got the first couple parts, bars 1 through 4 for the verse. Okay, so that's basically what it sounds like. Now our next part again starts the same as the very beginning of the song, and we're going back into F, but this time around it's a bit different. We're going to strum that F and then add our pinky to the third fret of string 1. So we're going to go strum, add that pinky, hit string 1 by itself, followed by a slap. Okay? And there's the next part. So after that slap, I'm picking string 2 by itself and then going to a C5 followed by an open first string. Okay, followed by a slap into D minor, and again we're holding that one out. So here's what that sounds like. 2, 3. And then we have another little pickup before the next bar. Okay, so this next pickup is just going to be the 3rd fret of string 2, hit that twice, and then the open 1st string, and we go back into that G minor. And this rhythm and everything in this bar, which is bar 7, is identical to what you did in bar 3 to 4. So again, you had G minor to F, right? To C5. So that bar is identical to what we had done, just the other one around. So now we've basically got the first 8 bars, or basically the first half of the verse learned. So all together we have this. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay? So there's the first half of that verse. Now the second half is where we're going to talk about approach number 2 for that, adding a backbeat, which basically is you're going to have a slap at the same time as a melody note. So the trick behind that is that your thumb this time around is going to be doing the slap. So instead of hitting with the entire hand, you're going to use your thumb to hit while a finger picks the melody note. Okay? So it's tricky because you have to make your thumb independent from your finger picking, or your picking fingers, right? So your thumb has to become independent from your picking fingers. That's the trick. So the best way to get this down is literally just to practice over and over. Remember, practice is 2 things. It's repetition and reinforcement. So you just repeat it over and over again, and then later in the day you come back and you do it again. Tomorrow you do it again. That reinforces this new technique and this new concept into your playing. So let's kick in from bar 8, and we're doing at the tail end of bar 8. It's got a quick little 16th note run before it goes into the next part, and the next part will start with our approach 2 for the slaps. So there's our first phrase, and it's just going to be string 3. You're going to hit that 3 times. And on the 3rd one, you're going to do a hammer on to the 2nd fret of string 3. So you have 1, 2, 3, hammer on. And then on string 2, you're going to go 1 to 3, which is another hammer on. Okay, now we're on bar 9. So last line of page 1 if you're following along with the tab, guys. Next part, we'll go into an F, and we're going to do a quick pull off 3 to 0 on string 1. And here will be our first hit. So we're going to use our thumb this time to hit the top part of the uke. And you can see I'm hitting right above where the end of the neck is. Sounds like that. And I'll go ahead and just demonstrate this first, that pickup in 8 to the entire bar 9, and we can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so that's quick. So again. Okay, so here's what's happening. I have F with that quick 3 to O on string 1, followed by that slap with our thumb only, going to C5, and after I hit C5, I'm gonna pick string 1, hammer on to 3 with my pinky, and I'm gonna hold my pinky there. I'm going to slap on that 4th beat, and I'm gonna pull off to the 1st fret of string 1. So I'm not actually picking again on this one. I'm holding it and pulling off on beat 4. So you can see strum, hammer on, slap, and that pull off happens there. Right, sounds like that. Okay, so I have strum, hammer on, slap, and pull off, right? So when I come down, I'm pulling off at the same time, right? And then I'm following it up with hitting string 1 by itself, just picking that note. So this is where that practice comes in. You just have to repeat this over and over again until you kind of get that muscle memory down. So it sounds like that. And again from the top. One more. Okay. So if you want to make it easier though, you guys can just get rid of that slap and just play the melody notes. So you can play something like that, and that makes this arrangement a lot easier. So it's up to you. You know, if you want to develop that rhythm playing, there's a lot of players that keep that up, and it sounds really, really cool. It really makes the arrangement kind of that much more special and kind of, you know, stick out more than always just playing a melody by itself. So it's up to you. You know, if you want to develop that technique, this is a great song for doing that with. Okay, so let's look at our next bar right here. So that's basically how it sounds. If I slow it down, I have. So this one's probably the trickiest bar in the song, I would say. It's starting with a G minor, and you're gonna do a quick strum followed by a pull off to string 1. And then you're hitting string 4 open and moving that first finger up to the second string of fret 1. So that's basically what it looks like. So I have strum, pull off, open 4, first fret of string 2. Followed by slap. And I'm going to do a form or approach 1 slap, right? Just that claw shape for this one. Right? So I have, and then that slap. Followed by hitting string 2 one more time, and then going to that D minor chord. Okay? So these other fingers will come down to form that chord. And when I play that D minor, I'm just going to strum it, right? Instead of a pluck. So it sounds like that. Then add my pinky finger to the 3rd fret of string 2. Alright? And I'm picking that note by itself. So again, slower. And again. Okay. Now here comes our first time really doing approach 2. You're going to be hitting with the thumb and using your ring finger to play string 1 open by itself. So you've got to get both of them going at the same time. Right? So that sounds like this. Okay? So it's just practicing you hitting with your thumb and playing the first string open by itself. So it sounds like that. So you can just loop that over and over until you get comfortable with that. Right? And the last note is just going to be the 2nd string, just picking that 1st fret. So that's the hardest bar, I would say, in this song. Okay, sounds like that. One more time. Okay. If you want to make it easier, you can get rid of that G minor strum. You can just do a pull off. So it'd be like that. And then a basic slap. And then D minor. And get rid of the, approach 2 slap. So it would sound like this. One more time. And that'll make it a lot easier to play. So it's up to you. It's how hard do you want to make this song, or do you want to simplify it? So let's go ahead and do this. Let's play the first couple for the second half of the verse. So the next part will go right into a G minor, and it's just going to be without the first string. So we're just going to ignore the first string. So we're going to strum that followed by a slap into an F. Okay, and then again we're going to have where you hit the top and pluck string 1 open. Okay, so we have approach 2 for that slap right there. Right, so we have hitting and playing string 1 open, followed by again hitting string 2 by itself. So it sounds like that. Again. Okay, and then we're going to follow it up with a C5, and you're going to hold that C5 out just like we had done before. And the beauty in this is that this section will loop twice. So if you learn it once, you've got it for both times. So here's what it sounds like again. Alright, so you would just play that section twice in a row, and that would give you the first 16 bars of the song all the way throughout. So everything played throughout for that verse will sound like this. So that's how our verse will sound. And like I said, in part 2 of the video lesson at rockclass101.com, we're going to learn the complete arrangement, so the rest of it, which would include the pre-chorus, the chorus, and the trumpet solo. And you will also be able to get the complete tabs to follow along with, as well as access to that on-screen tab viewer, which lets you play my performance and loop bars, slow it down. It's a great asset for learning how to play. It really makes learning these songs easier with that asset. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Again, you can get all the lesson assets at rockclass101.com, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Thanks.